Good evening. Today, I want to share with you something both simple and profound. Something that could radically shift how you think about sleep, recovery, and maintaining lean muscle mass. Let's begin with a basic but often overlooked fact. Muscle loss during sleep is a physiological reality that many overlook, but it's also a process that can be influenced and even prevented through strategic nutrition and an understanding of how the body behaves during rest. To appreciate why this happens, we need to start with what sleep actually is from a biological standpoint. Sleep is not a passive state. It's a highly orchestrated period where the brain and body engage in deep repair, cellular cleanup, memory consolidation, hormone release, and importantly, tissue rebuilding. But while this recovery process unfolds, the body enters a fasted state. From the last meal of the day until breakfast the next morning, several hours pass without any external nutrient intake. For some people, this fast can extend beyond 10-12 hours. During this window, the body still needs amino acids, glucose, and other resources to fuel its nighttime functions. In the absence of available dietary amino acids, especially essential ones, the body must turn to internal reserves to meet its metabolic demands. That reserve is often skeletal muscle. Muscle tissue is broken down via a process called muscle protein breakdown, MPB, releasing amino acids into the bloodstream that can be used for other vital processes. In a healthy, active individual, this process is balanced by muscle protein synthesis, MPS, where new proteins are formed from amino acids, leading to muscle repair and growth. However, during prolonged periods without dietary protein, the balance can shift toward breakdown, especially if the person is in a calorie deficit, overtraining, aging, or not sleeping well. What makes this particularly relevant is that sleep itself is governed by hormonal cycles that can either support or hinder muscle preservation. One of the key hormones released during deep sleep is growth hormone, which promotes tissue repair, fat metabolism, and muscle growth. But without the raw materials, primarily amino acids, growth hormone cannot fully carry out its anabolic duties. The body's ability to synthesize new muscle protein is only as effective as the availability of the building blocks. In other words, even if the hormonal signals for muscle building are strong, they're essentially wasted if there's nothing for the body to build with. This is especially important for athletes, older adults, and individuals aiming to preserve or build lean mass. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at using available amino acids for muscle synthesis, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. For these individuals, even short overnight periods of muscle breakdown can compound over time and contribute to sarcopenia, age muscle loss, a condition that leads to decreased strength, mobility issues, and increased risk of metabolic disease. The good news is that muscle loss during sleep is preventable. Emerging research has shown that consuming a slow digesting protein like casein before bed can sustain amino acid availability throughout the night, helping shift the balance away from breakdown and towards synthesis. It's not about overeating or adding calories unnecessarily. It's about timing and nutrient composition. Just 30-40 grams of casein protein in the evening has been shown to lower overnight catabolism and support recovery. Understanding this process is a small but powerful shift that allows us to work with our biology instead of against it. Sleep is one of the most powerful and overlooked anabolic windows in the entire day. While most people associate muscle growth and recovery with what happens in the gym, the reality is that the true gains occur during rest, especially during deep restorative sleep. However, the extent to which sleep supports muscle building and repair depends not only on the quality and duration of that sleep, but also on whether the body has the right nutrients available at the right time. In other words, sleep is only an anabolic opportunity if you feed it correctly. From a physiological standpoint, deep sleep, particularly slow wave sleep, is a highly active period for tissue regeneration. During this stage, the body releases a surge of growth hormone, one of the most powerful anabolic hormones available to us. Growth hormone stimulates protein synthesis, facilitates the repair of damaged muscle fibers, and promotes fat metabolism. This hormonal cascade sets the stage for recovery, but it cannot do its job in isolation. It requires substrates, specifically amino acids, to actually build and repair tissue. Without them, the signal is there, but the materials are not. It's like trying to build a house without bricks. This is where pre-sleep nutrition becomes critical. When you go to bed in a fasted state, which typically begins a few hours after dinner, the body must rely on whatever circulating nutrients are still available. If those nutrient levels are low, especially amino acids, the body shifts into a more catabolic state where it may begin breaking down muscle tissue to meet overnight demands. This is not inherently harmful in the short term, but over time, consistent muscle protein breakdown during sleep can outpace synthesis, particularly in older adults or those in a caloric deficit. The result is gradual muscle loss, impaired recovery, and diminished performance. But there's a solution. By strategically consuming a slow digesting protein like casein before bed, you can supply your body with a steady stream of amino acids throughout the night. Casein's unique in that it coagulates in the stomach, slowing digestion and resulting in a gradual release of amino acids into the bloodstream over several hours. This slow drip effect helps maintain a positive protein balance and supports the anabolic processes already activated by growth hormone during sleep. It essentially aligns nutrient availability with the body's natural repair mechanisms while you rest. In addition to muscle health, feeding the body correctly before sleep can also support brain function and overall metabolic regulation. Many amino acids serve dual roles, supporting both muscular and neurological processes. For instance, tryptophan, found in protein-rich foods, is a precursor to serotonin, which helps regulate sleep-wake cycles. So the right pre-sleep meal not only supports muscle maintenance, it can also enhance sleep quality itself. Ultimately, sleep is a biological opportunity to build, repair, and strengthen the body. But like any opportunity, it requires preparation. By understanding the timing and composition of your last meal, you can harness the full power of sleep as an anabolic window and set yourself up for deeper recovery, improved performance, and long-term muscle health. Consuming slow digesting protein before bed serves as a powerful anti-catabolic strategy, one that can significantly impact muscle maintenance, recovery, and even long-term metabolic health. During sleep, the body naturally enters a prolonged fasting state. Without external nutrients coming in, the body begins to rely on internal energy stores. While some of this demand is met through stored fat or glycogen, the body will also break down muscle tissue to release amino acids, especially if circulating levels are low. This muscle breakdown, also known as catabolism, is a normal biological process, but it becomes a concern when it outpaces muscle protein synthesis over time. The goal then is to shift the balance in favor of synthesis. This is where slow digesting proteins like casein come into play. Casein protein, typically derived from milk, is unique in its digestion profile. Unlike fast digesting proteins like whey, which spike blood amino acid levels rapidly, but then taper off within a couple of hours, casein forms a gel-like structure in the stomach. This structure slows down its breakdown and results in a steady, prolonged release of amino acids into the bloodstream over the course of 6 to 8 hours. This makes it ideal for the overnight fasted state, acting like a drip feed of essential amino acids that your muscles can utilize throughout the night. In this way, casein functions like a protective shield, reducing muscle breakdown and supporting tissue repair during the hours when you're not eating, but your body is still very much metabolically active. Numerous studies have confirmed the effectiveness of this strategy. Research shows that consuming around 30 to 40 grams of casein protein approximately 30 minutes before bed leads to improved overnight muscle protein balance. In one clinical trial, individuals who ingested casein before sleep showed significantly greater muscle synthesis and recovery markers than those who did not. Importantly, this occurred without disrupting sleep quality or impairing metabolic health. The body appears well equipped to digest and process casein during the nighttime hours without causing spikes in insulin or cortisol that might interfere with deep sleep stages. For athletes, individuals looking to gain lean mass, or older adults aiming to prevent age muscle loss, the implications are substantial. Aging is associated with anabolic resistance, where the muscle becomes less responsive to smaller doses of protein. By supplying the body with a continuous stream of amino acids during sleep, you help counteract this resistance and better support muscle preservation. It also improves readiness for the next day's training or physical activity as recovery is more complete. In a broader sense, this anti-catabolic approach aligns your nutrition with your natural biological rhythms. Sleep is already an anabolic period due to hormonal surges like growth hormone and testosterone. Supplying amino acids during this time simply ensures that these hormones can act efficiently. It's not just about preventing loss, it's about optimizing recovery and performance using tools grounded in physiology. A scoop of casein before bed is a small, consistent habit that over time becomes a major investment in muscular resilience, recovery, and long-term strength. The relationship between amino acids and sleep is far more profound than most people realize. While amino acids are well known as the building blocks of protein and muscle, their role in enhancing both physical recovery and brain function during sleep is a subject of growing scientific interest. When amino acids are consumed before bed, especially in the form of slow digesting proteins like casein, they do more than just support muscle maintenance. They also contribute to neurotransmitter synthesis, hormonal balance, and the regulation of sleep architecture itself. This dual role makes amino acids a powerful tool in promoting both physical regeneration and cognitive recovery while you sleep. On the muscular side, the importance of amino acids is straightforward. When you ingest protein, it is broken down into individual amino acids, which are then used to repair and rebuild muscle tissue. During sleep, especially deep, slow-wave sleep, the body enters its most anabolic state with peak levels of growth hormone and other repair processes. However, without available amino acids in the bloodstream, the body lacks the raw materials to capitalize on this hormonal environment. This is where pre-sleep protein intake becomes valuable. It supplies a sustained flow of amino acids throughout the night, helping prevent muscle protein breakdown and maximizing tissue regeneration. The result is not only preserved muscle mass, but improved recovery from training, reduced soreness, and better adaptation over time. But the benefits of amino acids before sleep go beyond muscles. Certain amino acids play essential roles in brain chemistry. For example, tryptophan, an essential amino acid found in many protein-rich foods, is a precursor to serotonin, a neurotransmitter that regulates mood, appetite, and most importantly, sleep. Serotonin itself is also a precursor to melatonin, the hormone that governs your sleep-wake cycle. Without sufficient tryptophan in the diet, the body may struggle to produce adequate melatonin, leading to difficulties falling or staying asleep. Consuming protein before bed ensures that tryptophan and other key amino acids are present to support this neurochemical cascade, potentially improving sleep onset and depth. Another amino acid, glycine, has been shown in studies to promote better sleep quality and lower core body temperature, which is a critical factor in initiating deep sleep. Glycine's calming effects on the nervous system may also help reduce anxiety and promote relaxation before bed. Together, these neurological benefits complement the physical repair processes taking place during sleep, creating a more complete and effective recovery environment. What this means in practice is that the right pre-sleep protein source doesn't just feed your muscles, it nourishes your brain as well. It supports the production of chemicals that regulate sleep and mood while also providing the nutrients needed to repair the body at a cellular level. This integrated approach, targeting both muscular and neurological recovery, can lead to more restful nights, faster recovery from stress and training, and greater mental clarity during the day. In essence, amino acids serve as the bridge between the body and brain during sleep. By consuming the right protein at the right time, you not only protect your muscle mass, but also enhance your overall recovery, mood, and cognitive function. It's a simple shift in habit, but one that aligns perfectly with the body's natural nighttime. Insulin sensitivity and nutrient timing play a crucial role in how the body responds to food, especially when it comes to nighttime nutrition and muscle preservation. Understanding the relationship between insulin, protein metabolism, and sleep can help fine-tune strategies for preventing muscle loss and enhancing recovery. When most people hear the word insulin, they think of blood sugar and diabetes. While that's accurate in a broad sense, insulin also has important effects on muscle growth and nutrient partitioning. It functions as a storage hormone, shuttling glucose into cells, but it also helps transport amino acids into muscle cells, facilitating protein synthesis and reducing protein breakdown. However, insulin sensitivity, the degree to which the body's cells respond effectively to insulin, is not constant throughout the day. It naturally follows a circadian rhythm. In general, insulin sensitivity is higher earlier in the day and declines at night. This is one reason why large carbohydrate-heavy meals late at night are discouraged. They're more likely to lead to elevated blood glucose, impaired fat metabolism, and disrupted sleep. But that doesn't mean eating before bed is inherently harmful. It simply means that what you eat and when you eat it must be aligned with your body's physiology to support muscle maintenance without harming metabolic health or sleep quality. Consuming a small, protein-rich, low-carbohydrate meal before bed can actually support insulin function in a very targeted and beneficial way. When protein is ingested, it stimulates a mild insulin response. Not enough to spike blood sugar, but enough to aid in amino acid uptake by the muscles. This gentle insulin elevation can help shuttle the amino acids into muscle cells where they are needed for overnight repair, without creating the metabolic disturbances that come from large meals high in sugar or refined carbohydrates. This is especially important for those who are insulin resistant, older adults, or individuals trying to stay lean, as excessive insulin secretion at night may lead to fat gain and poorer glucose control over time. Furthermore, insulin helps suppress muscle protein breakdown. When circulating amino acids and insulin levels are adequate, even mildly elevated, there is a greater tendency for muscle protein synthesis to outweigh breakdown. That's one of the key mechanisms by which a pre-sleep protein meal, especially one low in carbohydrates and moderate in fat, supports an anabolic environment during sleep. It doesn't just feed the muscle, it also sends a hormonal signal that promotes retention and repair. Timing is also critical. Ideally, a pre-sleep protein meal should be consumed around 30 minutes to an hour before bed. This window ensures that digestion is underway as you begin the sleep cycle, allowing amino acids to be steadily released and absorbed throughout the night. Delaying this too much or eating too soon before sleep can either lead to incomplete digestion or reduce the efficacy of the nutrient window. By respecting your body's insulin rhythms and timing your nutrition to work with those natural processes, you can maximize recovery, improve sleep quality, and maintain lean mass more effectively. This approach isn't about restricting food, it's about strategically choosing the right kind of fuel at the right time to support your biology and long-term health. Consistency is one of the most underappreciated drivers of neuromuscular adaptation, particularly when it comes to recovery, muscle maintenance, and performance. While training intensity and nutrition quality are important, it's the repeated exposure to the right stimuli, done day in and day out, that sends a strong signal to the body and brain to adapt, grow, and preserve function. This principle applies not only to your workouts, but also to your pre-sleep nutrition habits. When you consistently provide your body with high-quality, slow-digesting protein before bed, you're doing more than feeding your muscles. You're teaching your neuromuscular system to anticipate and efficiently utilize those nutrients. The body is incredibly adaptive. It learns to predict patterns based on your behavior. This includes how it handles nutrients, when it triggers hormone release, and how it prepares for sleep and recovery. If you regularly consume a slow digesting protein source before bed, your body begins to synchronize digestion, absorption, and amino acid utilization with your nightly recovery cycle. Over time, this consistency enhances the efficiency of muscle protein synthesis during sleep and reduces the likelihood of overnight muscle breakdown. In simple terms, you're training your body to become better at using what you give it because it knows when and what to expect. Neuromuscular adaptation is not limited to movement patterns or strength gains. It also includes biochemical and metabolic adjustments that support muscle health. With repeated exposure to nighttime protein intake, muscle cells become more responsive to available amino acids, increasing their ability to repair damaged tissue and preserve lean mass. The brain, too, adapts. Through repeated association, consuming a small, nutrient-rich meal before bed can become a cue that signals the onset of rest and recovery, helping to regulate circadian rhythms and improve sleep quality. This patterning effect is especially important for individuals engaged in resistance training, older adults who are naturally more prone to anabolic resistance, or those recovering from injury. In these populations, muscle protein synthesis in response to food or training is often blunted, but with consistent timing and nutrient delivery, the body begins to overcome this resistance by optimizing receptor sensitivity, enzyme activity, and intracellular signaling pathways involved in repair and growth. Moreover, consistency in pre-sleep nutrition supports long-term metabolic health. Sporadic eating habits, especially late at night, can confuse the body's internal clock and lead to poor nutrient partitioning, increased fat storage, and reduced insulin sensitivity. But when meals, particularly protein-based meals, are consumed at the same time each night, the digestive system, liver, and muscles learn to expect and efficiently manage those inputs. This reduces physiological stress, enhances nutrient absorption, and contributes to a more stable hormonal environment. In essence, your biology thrives on rhythm. Just as consistent sleep-wake cycles improve brain function and mood, consistent pre-sleep nutrition improves how your body recovers and adapts. The goal is not perfection, but repetition. When you align your evening habits with your body's natural needs and do so consistently, you send a powerful message: preserve muscle, recover deeply, and prepare for another day of performance. Over time, these small, repeated actions compound into measurable gains in strength, endurance, and resilience. In conclusion, the idea that sleep is simply a passive state of rest is outdated. Science now shows that sleep is a prime window for recovery, regeneration, and adaptation. If you fuel it correctly, muscle loss during sleep is not only real, it's preventable with the right nutritional strategies. By consuming a slow-digesting protein like casein before bed, you create a steady supply of amino acids that supports muscle protein synthesis, minimizes breakdown, and reinforces both physical and neurological recovery. Sleep becomes an anabolic ally, not a catabolic threat. We've seen that this practice doesn't just benefit your muscles, it also supports brain health, hormone regulation, and overall metabolic function. The mild insulin response it triggers helps deliver nutrients to cells without compromising blood sugar control, while amino acids like tryptophan and glycine contribute to better sleep architecture and cognitive recovery. When done consistently, this habit sends a powerful message to your body: adapt, preserve, grow. Your body is always listening to the inputs you give it. Repeated intentional behaviors, especially around sleep and nutrition, reshape how your nervous system, muscles, and metabolism respond. A scoop of casein before bed isn't just a supplement, it's a signal that you are preparing your body and brain to perform, recover, and thrive. Night after night, you're not just preventing muscle loss, you're laying the foundation for long-term resilience, strength, and health. Fuel sleep wisely, and you'll unlock its full anabolic potential.